Resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is the Week in Geek with David D. Squared, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. Broadcasting from the Gregory Ricks and Associates Wealth Management Studios, here's D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is the Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D. Squared. Let me lay out the show for you real quick. We're going to do some top nerd news. We're guest-free tonight, so I'm going to bring in my boy Skungy with his pick of the week early to help me out with some top nerd news. And then we'll get his pick of the week. But we are actually pretty heavy on some news tonight. So let's bring on my boy Skungy. Skungy, what's kicking, chicken?
What's going on, sir?
The usual, man. We're getting ready to do a show. So look, I don't even want to mess around tonight. Let's get right into our top nerd news. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, man. Topping us off is obviously, you've got all the movie theaters that have kind of shut down right now. That you got the COVID-19 going on, and so you've got AMC, and then you've got Regal Cinemas. And they got upset, and of all the movies to get upset about, I don't know why you would get upset about Trolls World Tour, but apparently they found this highly upsetting because the Trolls World Tour was released on video on demand, which bypasses the theaters. Now, here's the issue. Okay, there's no theaters right now. So they've got these movies. They need to put them out there because people are they've got timetables, schedules they've got to keep. Obviously, they're kicking everything back. You can't do a whole lot of filming of movies right now. Hell, my favorite TV show, Supernatural, is sitting on a shelf right now. Yeah, it's sitting on a shelf because they filmed a good chunk of it. They didn't film the finale. But here's the thing that a lot of people might not know is that when they get these TV shows, there's a lot of work that's done where they add in sound effects, the Foley work, and then just, digital renderings, all this kind of stuff. And none of that was getting done in time. And so once the COVID hammer came down and nobody could get together in groups, they had to change all that. So getting back to the whole movie thing, they've got other movies that are sitting on shelves, but there is some sort of work getting done. So AMC, Regal, they're upset because it's bypassing the movie theaters and going straight to video on demand. And now AMC theaters and Regal have both said that they are banning any Universal film from their theaters moving forward.
That is so dumb.
Well,
I mean, they're scared because Trolls made nearly $100 million off of rentals off of VOD. And that's huge, considering that's only $50 million less than the original movie made. But when you think about it, do you realize what Universal has? I mean, they have James Bond. That means that AMC is not going to run a James Bond movie. AMC is not going to run.
Stop talking right now? Did you just throw James Bond out there as your marquee movie that AMC would lose money by not putting a freaking James Bond film up on the big screen? Is that
it makes money?
Oh, my
It's
God.
still one of the most popular film franchises out there.
Daniel Craig has the acting range of, a pumpkin.
It doesn't matter. It still makes money. That's all that matters. It
No.
comes in the pocketbook.
Bring back the shoe phones. That's what I want. I want Get Smart shoe phones. That's what I want. All right, okay, but continue your thought. But I'm going to ignore the James Bond. You better come up with a better example than that.
Like I said, you have the Jurassic Park franchise as Universal.
Okay, those are dumb, but okay, they make bank.
They make a lot of bank. The Despicable Me franchise is Universal, and those things make huge bank. They have so many. So Universal has all of these movies under its belt, and AMC is just going to say, I don't care.
Well, all right,
I'm not going to take that money in. I get they're hurt, but
Hey, well, here's the thing, man. This is something else that I think a lot of people are not privy to. I think with the quarantine and people, being home a lot more, they've got a little bit more spare time, probably more spare time than they really want to have. But you're reading more articles, you're seeing things, and especially if you are like one of those AMC Stubs card holders and things like that, you find out why things are so expensive at the movie theaters. We all sort of know subconsciously because that's where they've got to make their money. That's how they pay, acne-faced teenagers to, sell you popcorn at a molasses speed. But they don't really make money off the movies themselves because they've got to pay so much money. And that's why everything comes from the concessions and all the other ancillary things that they provide. I'm not sure exactly if Universal, while, they've got a great theme park and I love it to death, I understand they have to take a stand, though, that the movie theaters have to be like, look, you can't cut us out of the equation because they also have deals with a lot of these because there's no mom and pop theaters anymore except maybe the Britannia.
But the Universal has said that once this goes back, they're going to run them both ways. They're going to have it for the rental and they're going to have it for the theater. And once this is over, man,
at the same time,
people are going to be, people are going to run out to the theaters just to get out of the house.
You're a crazy person. Ain't nobody run into the damn movie theaters as soon as the COVID ban is lifted. Because look, most people are not the dumb people. Okay, that's weird. Most people are dumb, but most people do have at least some sort of a instinct to survive and thrive. And I know I'm not going to go to the movie theaters with my kids unless, all three of us are sitting together. We're wearing masks. I mean, the new normal is going to be weird until the new normal is dictated to us or we start getting used to it. People are not going to flood theaters and bars and everything else as fast as they can.
I don't know, man. Have you seen some of the pictures of these things since they've opened up the outside?
Okay.
People are flooding to them already.
All right, smarty pants. If they're doing video on demand, then obviously they should not do it at the same time because if most people have their druthers, they're going to stay at home to watch. And I understand the experience. All right, there's a lot of people out there who are movie connoisseurs that want to be in that darkened theater, that want to hear the super IMAX where their eardrums bleed. I myself, I could go either which way. If I had the opportunity to video on demand, I'd be like, you know what? I'm just going to pop some popcorn for $1 in my microwave and then watch movies with the lights off in my house.
No, I completely understand, and it's a valid point. More and more people today are just going to the point that you can just press a button and have an instant gratification. And I guess that's what AMC is more scared of than anything, is that they are going to become more and more obsolete as the future rolls on.
Well, that is probably not far from reality. I'm not. People are going to reassess everything once the quarantines are lifted and people start trying to get the economy back on its feet. Things are going to change. We've been trying to put a little spotlight on a lot of our small businesses who are really the ones that need the help. I'm not. Yep. I'm not trying to bash on the big chain movie theaters because I do enjoy the movie experience on occasion, but. I just feel that at this point, if they're going to do the video on demand in respect to like AMC and Regal, I think Universal would be, I think they'd be giant turds to offer video on demand while doing the theatrical release. That's the whole point of it. You don't give anyone an option. If you don't want to go to the theaters, you have to wait, and you have to wait until the theater
moratorium.
Run. Right. Once a theater run comes to a close, then you can get it, when the DVD release comes out. But, as our friend Brian used to say, only Luddites collect physical media anymore. Looking at you, Don Cooper. So that's look, moving on from that, though, I think this is something that's going to continue to fight. I am curious to see where this fight goes. Sony, let's talk about another movie. Oh, my God, this company, Sony cannot do anything right, man. They can do nothing right. So now the Spider-Man universe of characters, or as they're putting it, SUC, suck, or they're using the Spider-Man, Spider-Man Marvel universes of characters. So then it's Spunk. Spunk. I don't know. They can do nothing right. It's just the same people who did Star Trek Discovery and called it STD. They need to really think these things out. Think of it from a millennial's point of
get
view.
paid to do this, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
Right. Well, just think of it from a millennial's point of view, okay? They're going to try to shorten everything. You just like Tony Stark loves his Tony Stark loves his acronyms like BARF. You would think they would stop for a second and just kind of type it out, look at it, be like, okay, how would the average, citizen or millennial or Gen Z through X, how would they look at this? What lens would they look at it through? And suck is the lens we're all looking at it for Sony and their Spider-Man universe of characters. This is a travesty, dude. I don't understand.
It really is. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. And I mean, it puts a dark cloud or just a funny shadow over the really good potential, because the Venom got, mixed reviews and everything, but Morbius is looking like it could be really good. And I mean, the Marvel Studios Spider-Man are fantastic. So now you just have to, this takes away from what could possibly be just something really cool.
Well, and that's another thing, though, too, because I'm interested to see what Sony wants to do, kind of touching back on our opening topic with AMC and Universal's, little dust up. What Sony plans to do with some of their movies, with Venom 2 coming out and with Morbius, which, I think they've just tried too hard. Sony just can never seem to get it right. They try too hard. And with Venom and Morbius, it seems like they are maybe kind of trying to weave a world together, but Marvel seems to be holding their hand on this one, because you're seeing now a lot of those stills coming out with the new Spider-Man and Morbius, that they have pictures of Spider-Man in the background in alleyways with murderer pasted over his face, because now the world believes that he murdered Mysterio, and everybody knows his name, Peter Parker. So Sony is doing some things right, but this is something where I think if AMC and all the other major theaters, if Sony decides to do a video on demand as with a theatrical release, I would suddenly find myself on the side of the conglomerates and the big chain movie theaters, because I think that's an unfair disservice. Well, right. You can't have it both ways, mister. You just said you'd be fine with a VOD.
No. For something like Spider-Man, and that's the thing. When it comes to seeing movies in the theater, these are the movies that are meant to be seen in the theater. Like doing Trolls and everything. That's that.
You don't have kids, dude. You don't have kids. Look, I hated Trolls when I first saw it. I despised it with a passion, and now it's completely grown on me. And anytime I see it on FX, I stop and watch it. Okay? There you go. I'm oversharing with the audience once again. Trolls. But no, I see where you're coming from. I mean, the whole superhero genre really is designed for the big screen. I posted on our Facebook page, which you guys can go out there and check out, facebook.com/The Week in Geek, where they had the 1987 Justice League movie popped up, but it had none of the good people in it. It was just Green Lantern, some new girl.
Green Lantern's cool.
Shut up. Whatever. Whatever. All right. So Green Lantern, they had The Flash, which is cool, but he was nobody back then. And it was really like, I think, Martian Manhunter and some guy who can control the weather. It was really bad. It was made for TV movie, and it was hokey. The costumes were basically Party City type costumes. But most of these movies, I would agree with you there that they really deserve to be on the big screen. It's fun to watch them again at home, where you can watch for Easter eggs and really kind of, look at it. But that experience of the big theater.
Yeah.
Look, we're hyper focused on comic book movies and superhero stuff right here on this show. But there's a lot of people who really love to see those dramatic films and be moved by the music. I don't know any of those people per se, but I've been told that a lot of people like to go in the movie theaters and cry and just be moved by the picture itself.
Those are people that actually have feelings, Dave. That's something that you're not really akin to sometimes.
What? Okay.
Fearings.
Okay. All right. Moving on from fearings. I have feels about The Tick. You know what? Look, let's knock out a break. Yeah. When we come back, I want to talk about, there's an auction taking place, and they're going to be selling spoons.
Spoons! spoon.
Correct. I misread that. It's not spoons. It is a spoon. Now, look, the other thing I want to talk about when we come back, too, is G.I. Joe and the Transformers. They're getting more movies, and Michael Bay is out. He tapped out. He doesn't want anything to do with it. So when we come back...
Hallelujah. Somebody do a dance.
Yeah, probably so. All right, this is The Week in Geek. When we come back, we'll talk some G.I. Joe, Transformers, and all that and more right here on The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Hey, you Ninja Turtle fans, this is Raphael. That's right, the OG Raphael. And the only show we listen to here in the sewer while eating our favorite pizza is The Week in Geek on WRNO Radio. Turtle Power!
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared. Before we went to break, it's kind of prophetic that we get the turtle power, because we're going back into the 80s vault in essence here. They're capitalizing on my childhood yet again. But you know what, Skungy? I'm completely fine with that. Skungy, my video game correspondent, is with me. Pretty soon we'll do our pick of the week with you, Skungy. But I wanted to talk some G.I. Joe and Transformers. Let's start with G.I. Joe, because that's
G.I. Joe.
Yes, there we go. Now, look, here's the thing. They've already had 2 movies, okay? You've got 2. You've got G.I. Joe and
2 strikes. Let's get that right. 2 strikes.
That is true. Retaliation, they started to course correct, but they still didn't get it right. They were sort of on the right track a little bit. They were getting there. The first one was a travesty and should have never even seen the light of day. The second one, I could at least work with that one. That was I was more offended about how they treated the hiss tanks in that movie, because I still have my hiss tank. It's in my man cave, and I got Cobra Commander in the turret. So look, I have an affinity there for that. But we've got 2 more coming out, and here's what's interesting, Skungy. This was coming out of Variety, that it's going to be a reboot of the franchise. But it's taking reboots. I'm talking about reboots. They're talking about a reboot, but 7 years after G.I. Joe Retaliation. So you've got Zartan. I guess he's no longer the president of the United States anymore. So that all the Cobra Commander stuff was thwarted. And I feel cheated that we never really got the whiny Cobra Commander. Like, retreat! I just need that. I just need that. Cobra Commander saying
that would have been so awesome. But my question with this is, so what are they going to do with those characters? I mean, G.I. Joe has those core characters, the Hawk. And
yeah, but they all
what are they
suck, like
do?
Roadblock. It was The Rock. He was like sort of cool. He had that kind of campy G.I. Joe look to him. But Duke, they really did not do the characters any justice. Scarlet was okay, but they used her too much like a tramp in it. And as
are they going to just do give them new people with the same code names? That's what I hope.
I would hope
they can
so.
have them in there.
Well, yeah, you'd have to. Honestly, I think you would have to. I mean, I guess at some point you just leave those guys go by the wayside and bring in the other ones, because here's the first thing. They're going to do like that Snake Eyes movie. That's going to be Snake Eyes, like an origin story. What's the title of it there?
Yeah, G.I. Joe Origins.
Yeah,
Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe Origins.
There we go. Snake Eyes, comma, semicolon, G.I. Joe Origins.
Which is supposed to come out on October 23rd this year, apparently.
Well, good luck with that. We'll see. But, I mean, here's what I found kind of surprising, that the 2 films grossed $678 million. So, I don't know.
That's amazing. It is truly amazing.
Well, you know what? It was during the boom economy. So, that people had some, more disposable income at the time. Now people are going to be a little bit more, I guess, studious about, spending some of their hard-earned cash.
A little frugal.
But here's the thing. So they've got another one coming out after that. Now, I'm just sort of hoping that these movies kind of try to harken back to, what it was, and stop trying to overdo stuff, because Lorenzo di Bonaventura, do you remember that name? That's the guy who gave us our childhood, because he was the one who produced all those cartoons back in the day. He's also done like a laundry list of movies since then. I went and looked through it. He's got like 41 some odd credits on there, where he's done a lot of big films. I can't remember what. I don't know. I should have had this ready in front of my face, but I did not. So here's the thing. He's the same guy that you would always see at the end of the G.I. Joe cartoons and some of the Transformers stuff, because it was that guy, and who was his name? DeLeo? Was it? It was something like.
I think it was DeLeo. If I can't remember correctly, but that sounds correct.
All I remembered, because here's my segue, was just that when I went and saw Transformers the movie in the theater,
and cried.
I saw that big, lion thing, and it was just like roar, and that was burned in my retinas because I hated that person from then on throughout my days, along with Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, because he deserves to die, and one day I will get my vengeance on, Hot Rod. But here's the thing. You've got the G.I. Joe movies coming out, and now you have some more Transformer movies coming out. I haven't gotten around to watching Bumblebee. I'm not sure if
Neither have I.
Yeah, I don't think I want to waste my time. I don't know. I think at some point I'm going to have to watch it because, I don't know, they just never do Bumblebee justice, though, either. I mean, it's just... I've always been a little upset with when Michael Bay started it all in 2007, where the Transformers didn't look like Transformers. All they wanted to do was just like sell the model cars and get, money from whichever GMC or Corvette or Camaros, all those things that they could put those cars in the movie. But when they transformed, they looked like some weird little, I don't know, like a 12-year-old was trying to put in a model car kit and ran out of glue halfway through. That's what they looked like.
Yeah, it was like a hodgepodge, a mismatch. They didn't have those iconic symbols or just shapes that the Transformers had. After the first movie, I was already done with that franchise after the first movie.
I just wanted the pot helm type thing that they had on Megatron. I wanted that back. He always had a little helmet, like he was going to war. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they were cool. They were iconic, and of course, that lent itself to making toys back then. And they were less about toys and, like you said, more about the actual car marketing in the newer films.
So now here's the thing. Now this is what got my hackles up. Is that Transformers movies get a release date, and that's going to be the release date for the new Transformers movies is June 24th of 2022. So we got like 2 years and a month.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's either going to be another Bumblebee film, which means I'm going to probably have to go watch the original Bumblebee, and I kind of hope it's not because, Jesus, Bumblebee was never a huge character. He was just cool. Like, where's the Volkswagen? Why's it got to be a damn Camaro? But I digress.
Because who wants to drive a Volkswagen now? They want to drive.
I do. Not the new ones. I want one from the 70s. I want one.
Marketing doesn't agree with you.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm immune to it. Now, here's the other thing, though. It's either Bumblebee or Gird Your Loins, Beast Wars. What?
I loved that cartoon, man.
You're an idiot.
Now, it's dated. You go back and watch it. My God, it's dated and it's hard to watch. But the story was really, really cool.
Optimus Primal. Cheetor, Scorponic, Rhinox. Come on, man.
But it was still cool. The stories were very, very well. And that goes to show that this was at the beginning of doing computer animation when that show came out. It was one of the first.
That was one of the things that did.
Shows.
Yeah, that did sort of turn me off when they tried to do all that. I was just like, grab your crayons and some paper and just come on, do it like we did in the old days. Granted, maybe I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, and I don't like to get dragged, kicking
horrible
and screaming.
To look at though now.
Well, now here's the thing though, and it's just like I wanted to at least hearken back to some of that. Granted, now look, I know I'm in the vast minority who wants to see, exactly what we had back in the day, because obviously none of that stuff would really work. When you shoot lasers at somebody, you should hit them. Okay. So I understand all that, but with Beast Wars, I know what they're going to try to do, because they try to do the whole stupid thing with the Dinobots, and man,
the Grimlock.
That's what I want. I want that back. I don't understand why they can't at least make an attempt to make it similar to that, or just try a little bit harder to recapture that. But they want to put all these new spins and new whistles and doodads.
Simple, I believe. I think they think those kind of things are too simple and it needs to be more refined, more updated, more in depth than it was simply as me Grimlock.
Well, and that's where they're wrong, because people, make a story around that. But the whole point was that they were characters, though, too. Why do you think we all cried in the Transformers the movie when Optimus Prime died? It wasn't because he had
spoilers.
It wasn't because he had whatever. It wasn't because he looked cool. It wasn't because he had a kick-ass 18-wheeler and he had the greatest voice in the world. It was because we were emotionally invested with the character. Even Starscream, who I still love to this day. I mean, Soundwave, all these great characters that once they put them up on the big screen, they lost any semblance of character. I mean, I love John Goodman, great guy. I've met him before. He's a wonderful actor, but his character was just sort of, it was there. They used him as a character voice, but there was nothing there because nobody knew who the hell he was. He was just like, all right, I got a gun. We're going to shoot it at the Decepticons. Follow me. It's like, what am I watching here? There was nothing connecting you to that character. They're just like, here's a bunch of robots. They transform. Here's some stuff we're going to put on the shelves at Target and Walmart and go buy it. There was no real, I know it sounds ridiculous to say this, but I don't think I'm asking too much for a little bit of character development. And when that's not there with a movie like that, you tug on those heartstrings of the people that you're tailoring the movie towards and targeting towards, where you want them to get emotionally invested. It's like, I remember this guy, even Ironhide, he was the dumb looking, Toyota van. It was just so terrible. And they give him this cool looking truck in Transformers, but he was still he was a non-personality. And then you take away Bumblebee's voice. I mean, I've just lost faith. I think maybe that's what I'm getting to with all my diatribe here, that I don't care if they do Beast Wars, because they're not going to develop these characters. And I think that's the other issue I have with G.I. Joe as well. They just kind of exist. I think they tried to do that with Duke and G.I. Joe, but let's be honest. The dude was a stripper. What was that movie? The stripper movie that he did? I can't remember.
Oh, Magic Mike. Magic
Mike. There you go. Just leave him up on
I'm
ashamed
stage. That I know that, by the way.
You should. Well, you've got a wife who probably thinks about him. So there you go. All right, moving on. G.I. Joe. All right, finally, before we knock out a break, and then we'll come back and do your pick of the week, which is about Assassin's Creed, because we got a new trailer drop. So, don't go anywhere. We got that audio for you coming up next. But 12 years ago on Friday, Skungy, Iron Man hit the theaters, and the world has never been the same, my friend.
The MCU was born. And not only was that released, this week seems to be that kind of, all the popular ones were released around this time of year. The Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, all of them. So this is like the hotbed for your Marvel movies. Well, Iron Man started it.
It was going into the summer, and they didn't know what they had on their hands. When they were using, let's be honest, a second tier character in Iron Man. A lot of people
B-list.
Yeah, a lot of people knew him. Us comic book nerds, we knew who Iron Man was. I mean, hell, perfect little segue. The show is now 7 years old, and the very first show I did was about when Iron Man 3 was coming out, and I had reservations about the Mandarin. And you'll never see me coming. But I mean, I knew the Mandarin was going to suck in that movie. Little did I know that it wasn't even going to be the Mandarin. Spoiler alert there. That movie, geez Louise, that was a travesty. But there you go. So that is, But
man, who would have known when that movie came out? I remember going to see it. I was excited because I'm like, all right, let's see how this is going. Marvel's making the movie, and I'm a huge Jon Favreau fan ever since I saw PCU years ago.
Well, you should. All right, we got to knock out a break, Skungy. Yeah. All right, when we come back, we'll do Skungy's pick of the week. This is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
Egad, this is Pinky of Pinky and the Brain. And when Brain and I are not planning to take over the world, which is pretty much never, but when that happens, the only show we listen to, or rather the only show Brain allows me to listen to, is The Week in Geek on WRNO. Nerds.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm joined by Skungy, who's going to be my video
Hello.
king. All right, so before we get into that, I want to strongly urge everyone to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twigradio and the Instagrams, The Week in Geek. Now, Skungy, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show, or if you want to catch your favorite part again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com, or you can download Spreaker on your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and the iTunes radio app.
Ah, you mean the iHeartRadio app?
The iHeartRadio app.
There you go.
Sorry,
All
it's
right.
the first time doing it.
It's okay. I won't fire you, but I might fire you after this. Here we go.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
I love lamp. I love lamp.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
He might be an idiot savant.
Well, there's no doubting that he's an idiot savant. Skungy. All right, man. Look,
Take out the savant part.
well, look, I say this all the time. I am complimentary of your video game skills because you have forgotten more about video games than I will ever know, which is why I keep you around. So we're going to be talking Assassin's Creed. Really, I wanted to talk with you about all the Assassin's Creeds, just kind of like an overview of the entire, I guess, what's the word? The franchise. That's the word.
Series, the franchise, yeah.
So now, the other day, a new trailer dropped for Assassin's Creed Vikings.
Valhalla.
Valhalla, whatever. Vikings, Valhalla. It's the same smell. I didn't say Stovacore, all right? There's a difference. All right, so here is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
They are heartless, godless barbarians. They murder and kill blindly. They scour the lands of England. Lands they will never defend, never love. The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
Odin is with us!
So then at this point, basically the mountain comes out, Skungy. The guy looks like the mountain from Game of Thrones. And in a shocking turn of events, the assassin's blade is on the top of his wrist as opposed to underneath his wrist. And then, he, stabs the dude in the eyeball and he dies. And huzzah, Vikings. Now, look, watching this trailer was it was pretty cool. They had while the English king was writing his little letter of doom, it was showing the surprising dichotomy of the Vikings who, pillage and destroy and burn cities while they play lovingly with their children with little fake swords and look, we're building houses and stuff. We're great people. Meanwhile, we're gonna come murder and go stabby on you. But this is what's interesting to me though. So now you've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is going to be coming out. I guess the trailer came out, but how soon is the game coming out?
So it's going to come out this holiday. And one of the cool things about this game is it's one of the first games that's announced on the Xbox Series X. So this is going to be, it's coming out on current generation, but this is going to be a next generation game, which is standard for most Assassin's Creed games. The last console generation was Assassin's Creed game was a launch title as well.
Yeah, wasn't that the one in the French Revolution that was like glitchy as heck?
No.
What was
We
that?
don't talk about that, and it was not. It was actually one of the best ones. It was Black Flag, the pirate one.
Ah, yes. All right. So, and this is what I wanted to talk about is that you've got all these great titles from Assassin's Creed. Funny side note, while I was chopping up the audio for the trailer, I had my 7-year-old Dean, I had him fire up the Xbox and start playing the original Assassin's Creed for Xbox 360 with Altair. And, you know, the whole Apple of Eden and all that stuff, that great storyline, and everybody's in the Animus, da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But now I've kind of tapered off from Assassin's Creed because I am what gamers will call a completionist, and I cannot stay on target with these games because I do every dang side quest possible. So it's hard for me to stay focused and finish the story.
Completely agree with you on that with these games.
But here's the thing. This is what I want to talk about, though. You've got the Black Flag. You had the French Revolution one. But the last two entries I haven't even played. I've seen bits and pieces of Origins, which was the one set in Egypt. And then Odyssey, I've never even laid eyeballs on, and that was the one that was in ancient Greece. And now you've got the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is, you know, the Vikings and stuff. What is going on? I like that they're jumping from that because it's great and fresh and it's new, because I love the American Revolution one where you play the Native American.
Connor.
Yeah, that was I loved that. That was the last game I played almost through to completion without trying to kill bears and raccoons to sell their hides for money, but because that was such a side quest that just drove me nuts. I couldn't stop myself from hunting those poor furry little animals. But what is going on, and what is the storyline now, and why are they picking these I don't know, destination places?
So after the events of Assassin's Creed 3, the real-world aspect of Assassin's Creed, which I'm going to say this right now, there's a spoiler alert here.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed series is well over 10 years old now. There's a lot of spoilers that I don't mean to say, but in order to talk about it, I got to say.
Okay, well, Dean's not listening, so it's okay. You can spoil it.
So the Assassin's Creed, what you do is you go into this thing called an animus. And what you do is you are reliving the memories of these historical characters who were part of the assassin organization. So you had one character named Desmond that was through the first part of the series. Up until 3, you were playing that character in real life and then his ancestors. Well, after the events of 3, you no longer go with Desmond, and it kind of lost its way with that part of it. They didn't touch on the real world too much, and it was very like Unity, which in my opinion is the worst game in the series and actually one of the worst games I've ever played. It had nothing to do with the real world really, but then they kind of went back to it with Origin and Odyssey, and it seems like they're kind of getting back on track with it now. With the Origin and Odyssey series, it's kind of almost a reboot of the franchise, because they were at one point they were making an Assassin's Creed game every year, and you could tell that it was getting long in the tooth because of that.
Right. Yeah.
They weren't nearly as innovative. It was reskins. Their glitch Unity, perfect example, had glitches. Syndicate was the last one that used what I call the old Assassin's Creed formula.
Okay.
Which was still a good game, but it still had its problems. Now,
I never played Syndicate either. Never played that one.
That one was set in London.
Yeah.
Around, Victorian age London. Now, when they did Origins, they went to ancient Egypt. And the cool thing about it is that they actually changed the control scheme of the game as well. Before, you used to use the face buttons to do your attacks. Now you use the bumper buttons to do attacks. So it brings an element of strategy in your combat that wasn't there before. That works really well with it. One thing they also did was open up the game world even more, which, as you just mentioned, you played in 3. It was huge. There was so much to do. There's even more to do, and the game world is even larger. And to me, that is just a huge pain in the ass.
Look, I guess it was the third one where you were in Italy and you just had the whole.
That was Revelations was the third Italy one.
So that one, I mean, there was so much to do because you're rebuilding your house, and then you're oh my God, there was so much there to do with that one as well. And I think that's kind of why, like, after I did the American Revolution one, I was just kind of like, dear Lord, I've wasted probably 6 months of my life just on Assassin's Creed, and I was like, I had to put it down and step away and refocus my attention on the real world. Yeah. But I love the series. I'm not poo-pooing on it at all because
I agree.
That's why I wanted to know, like, what am I missing without, I guess not spoilers, but like, why are they so centric on one? I mean, I understand that it's a great new area to go into, because I also loved how they had, like, in essence, like little history lessons in there as well. So I loved all that. But is there some sort of God aspect that I'm missing with the Egyptian gods and then Odin and things like that? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, see, there is. It kind of goes back to the events of the first Assassin's Creed. Once again, I'm going to say spoilers. The whole thing about the first Assassin's Creed is that you were trying to find a piece of Eden, and you find out that the Garden of Eden was actually a real thing, but it wasn't God, it was aliens and alien technology. So
aliens,
and that central theme is still kind of gone throughout the entire series. Now, you're not necessarily fighting Templars anymore, which was Assassins and Templars. And they specifically say that in this new one, it's not going to be the traditional Assassin's Creed formula, which is really cool. But there is a God aspect of it, but it's not God's new. A perfect example, anybody who's watched Stargate, it's the Stargate series.
You read my mind, kid.
Perfect example of how this series actually kind of plays out.
Well, see, that's what I loved about Stargate too, was that instead of just the Goa'uld being just Egyptians, they had the entire mythology to pull from, and I thought that was just brilliant on Stargate's part. So they're doing, in essence, something like this with Assassin's Creed now. So
yeah, but that's what they kind of move towards now. Like I said, with this new one, I don't know, because we see Odin on the battlefield, and that was a cool thing. The main character sees, he's like, as you heard the trailer, Odin is with us, and that kind of rallies everybody up and whatnot. And that's very true.
Well, they've always had birds.
Yeah,
well, he's a raven, right? No, and that was the other thing that raised up some flags for me, was when the raven flies off. You've always had, like, the eagle vision and the eagle soaring around, and that's always played a huge aspect in this franchise as well. So I'm just curious, because, I mean, here's the thing, and I know I'm probably not alone with a lot of the listeners right now with some of these games where, especially like with Odyssey and Origins, I mean, do I have to play those games if I want to get
you do not have to play any previous Assassin's Creed to enjoy the game. That's what I'm going to say, because I never finished Origins.
Okay.
Because, like you said, it's just too big, and I have that same problem with you. It's like, oh, look, squirrel. Oh, look, a butterfly. Let me go over here. Let me go over there. And I have that problem with these huge open world games, and those two are bigger than any other Assassin's Creed put together. They're huge.
Yeah.
But so I never finished them. But I picked up the other one, Odyssey, without finishing Origins, and I still enjoyed it. And sure, you might need to go to a wiki page to kind of understand maybe what's going on a little bit, but for the most part, they're really good on there's a lot of codex. Now, if you really want the story, you're going to have to read a lot, like all the little journal entries and everything like that, and that'll bring you up to speed.
Yeah.
But the best way is to just do a wiki page. But it's not needed to enjoy the game, because the main story of the game is what is going on with this character, which is a unique character for every game, not what's going on in the real world. But what's going on in the real world is, or the present world is, the overarching continuing story, but it's kind of a centralized story that's exclusive to that particular title with that game. So you can enjoy that part and not need to know anything about the previous ones.
Well, there you go. All right, Skungy, we got to knock out one more break. But, it's almost as if I know what I'm doing. Aliens, man. Aliens. Only now could the government release something and be like, nobody notices. So we'll talk about aliens right here when we come back on The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
And now, genius listeners, Yakko Warner here. And when we're in the water tower, the only show we listen to is The Week in Geek on WRNO Radio. Good night, everybody.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. So, aliens. Apparently they're in the Assassin's Creed, but now the U.S. government has released videos showing perhaps the existence of aliens, and not a peep. Nobody's really talking about it.
That's how screwed up the world is right now.
Right. I had no idea.
There are UFOs and it's not news.
I don't know how that happens, but apparently it did. I didn't find out about 2 days later. And then when I went and saw it, it looks like it was a TIE fighter to me, because it looked like a little TIE fighter. It was two little lines with one line in the middle. I don't know, unless that was the aiming reticule and I'm just a dumbass.
No, the Empire they've been biding their time, and now everybody's inside, so this is their time to strike.
So is the COVID maybe perhaps evolutionary step where people are starting to gather midichlorians and then we're all going to become Jedi? I like
Watch
this.
your mouth with that midichlorian stuff.
You know, well, hey, you know what? You get lemons, you make lemonade, or if you get midichlorians, you make Jedi. I don't know. Hey, Skungy, I forgot to pay off this little gem. We didn't talk about the spoons that are going to be going on sale.
Spoons!
So
yes, indeed.
The Tick is going to be auctioning off a lot of the stuff from the Amazon series of the Tick, and
which was really good.
Yeah, it's all right. You can think whatever you want. I mean, I like the cartoon better, but hey, you know what?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to poo-poo on that series because it was kind of funny. But they're going to be when is it? May 27th?
May 27th.
So here's another thing, though. So it's going to be at ha.com. It's Heritage Americana. So there are so many auctions on there, or heritage auctions, my bad.
129 pieces in all.
Well, no, I'm talking about other things, though, besides spoons and the Tick, though. They've got all sorts of, Americana movie things, auctions that are going on there. Because when I went to the ha.com website, I started scrolling down trying to find the Tick auction, and I started stumbling on all these other movie things. I'm like, oh, my God. This is almost a bad thing. I regret this now saying it on the air, because everybody's kind of QVCing it up right now with the COVID quarantine going on. People are shopping like mad people on, with QVC, and of course now with the internet and Amazon. So I don't know. I regret this decision now, but there are auctions out there. But the Tick, May 27th. What was some of the stuff they got that they're selling, Skungy?
So they've actually got the costume is
nice.
Available, which is absolutely awesome, with the ears that move,
the animatronic. Yes.
They also have Arthur's outfit as well. They've got Miss Lynch's dust outfit, the tinfoil hobo outfit. You've got identification cards, helmets, goggles. You've got the Agent
awesome.
Commander Tyrannosaurus's Rathbones costume as well.
That's brilliant. So
it's so cool. I mean, now, mind you, it's probably going to be an exorbitant amount of money to get this stuff, but
yeah, well, hey, you know what? You never know. Some people might not understand the joy that is the Tick. So maybe we'll get some stuff under the radar. You never know. You might be able to catch a deal.
It would be nice.
Yep. All right, Skungy, and finally we got 20 seconds left. Becky Lynch, she's rumored to be in Marvel. The man, Becky Lynch.
The man. I think that's going to be awesome. I mean, she does great acting on WWE, but a lot of people haven't made that transition.
There you go. All right, man. Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
Gets News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM New Orleans anywhere on our free iHeartRadio app.